Let's head on now to London for Around the World in 5.
Good evening. Even before all the votes are counted in Sunday's presidential elections in Senegal, the result is already being contested by the main candidates. It all hinges on whether there will need to be a second round of voting to determine who will be president. After the ballot closed, President Sall was greeted as the clear winner by supporters at his party headquarters, a view enforced by the announcement of Prime Minister Mohamed Dion.
The compiled results are telling us today that we must congratulate President Sall for his re-election in the first round.
But opposition candidates Idrissa Seck and Ousmane Sonko condemned the incumbent president for proclaiming himself the outright winner.
At the current stage of the vote and the tally, no candidate, I say clearly, no candidate, myself included, can proclaim themselves winners of this presidential election.
The arguments look set to continue with the result of the election not expected until Friday. The threat of a full-scale trade war between the world's two largest economies appears to have diminished after President Trump announced that he will delay imposing an increase in U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods. Talks between the USA and China, tackling a range of divisive issues, were hailed by the president as a success.
We just left a big meeting with China, and we just put out a statement. We're doing very well with China. It was a long weekend. They decided to stay for 2.5 more days. They'll probably be leaving late tonight. They're going back. And if all works well, we're going to have some very big news over the next week or two. And it's really been terrific. I tell you, that whole relationship has been outstanding. We put ourselves into a position of strength for the first time in about 35 years, or probably a lot more than that. But China has been terrific. We want to make a deal that's great for both countries, and that's really what we're going to be doing.
And more on United States foreign policy, this time ahead of President Trump's extremely high-profile meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Hanoi later this week. Speaking in Ho Chi Minh City on Monday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said the United States had asked Russia for advice before the arrangement of the summit, and that Moscow had maintained from the very beginning that the tough ultimatum attitude with which Washington began these negotiations would not bring results. At the EU-Arab League summit in Egypt, British Prime Minister Theresa May is holding a series of meetings to try to win support for her efforts to make her Brexit deal more attractive to the UK Parliament. Although the mood seemed relaxed as Mrs May met the European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker and the Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte, she faces a growing threat that she will be forced to delay Brexit, a move that risks a showdown with Eurosceptics within her Conservative Party on her return to London. While an official said extending Brexit talks was raised only briefly at a meeting with German Chancellor Angela Merkel, there were other indications that the government was looking at options if her deal fails. However, there was one opportunity at the summit for Mrs May to try to take her mind off her political problems. But despite her advisor's help, she was no match for the Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte. The people of Cuba have been voting on the first change to the country's constitution for more than 40 years. The vote is expected to approve modest economic and social changes while maintaining the one-party socialist system. After casting his ballot in Havana, President Miguel Diaz-Canel told reporters the ballot comes at a critical time because of the deepening crisis in Cuba's ally, Venezuela.
We know what we're going through at the moment with the imperialist threat. There is an intention to impose a capitalist and neoliberal platform in Latin America, using the most perverse practices, the vilest things.
And finally, something Australian firefighters call a firenado. The phenomenon occurs when spirals of fire and smoke suck in burning debris and was caught on camera in Southampton, Western Australia. And that's your international news around the world in 5.
Thanks a lot, Joyce. And the main news again. Nigerians have been anxiously awaiting INEC's final announcement as presidential and National Assembly election results trickle in. Drama was heightened in Rivers, Imo and Bayelsa states following results for National Assembly polls. International observers have released preliminary observations on the presidential and National Assembly elections, raising concerns over delays and transparency in the electoral process. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thanks for watching. I am Amirachi Ubani.